now for a Next News special report.
Breaking news, Patriots. The Biden camp just dropped a bombshell that's shaken up the political world. With the presidential debate just around the corner, they are flat out refusing to drug test Joe Biden. You heard that right. Even though 70% of voters are demanding it, Team Biden saying no way. But here is the kicker. Trump's ready and willing to take the test. So what is Biden hiding? Stick around because you won't believe what we've uncovered. Our final thought, well, it's a game changer. Now, folks, before we dive any deeper, let me tell you about something crucial. Just like how we're seeing the value of transparency in our leaders, we are seeing the value of gold skyrocket. It's not that gold's getting pricier, it's our dollar getting weaker, and with countries considering dumping the petrodollar, we could be in for a financial reset. That's why smart Americans are turning to Global Gold Investments. They're offering our viewers a special deal. Mention our show, Next News, for VIP treatment, plus get their 5-year IRA fee waiver on qualified rollovers. Call that number on the screen, 888-700-4148 now for a free portfolio analysis and their 2024 Insure Your Money Guide. That's 888-700-4148. Now let's get back to the story that's got everyone talking. Yes, the Biden campaign just dropped a bombshell, folks. They are flat out refusing to drug test Joe Biden before Thursday's presidential debate. This isn't just some minor detail, it's a big deal, especially when you consider that a whopping 70% of voters think that both candidates should be tested. So let's break it down. A recent Daily Mail poll shows just how much Americans want transparency. You can see it right here. Now, you'd think that Team Biden would listen to the people, right? Wrong. When CNN's Boris Sanchez asked Biden campaign spokesman Adrienne Elrod about it, her response was, well, see for yourself.
President Trump asking President Biden for a drug test going into Thursday night. What's your reaction?
I mean, I don't even really know what to say about that. I worked on Hillary Clinton's campaign. You know, she also debated him very effectively. He accused her of being on drugs.
Meanwhile, President Trump isn't shying away from the challenge. He's been calling for both cognitive and drug tests since June. Watch.
Remember when Joe said it's great to be in Idaho and he was in Iowa? He always does that. If I ever did that, it would be over. They'd say that's the end of his political career. He's cognitively impaired. No. You know, I had a second test. I aced it. I aced both of them. Not easy to ace. Biden should have a cognitive test, number one. They say it's unconstitutional. That's a good excuse. He should have a cognitive test, and before the debate in 2 weeks, he should take a drug test, because I'm willing to take one.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Biden's last public appearance raised some serious red flags. Just look at this footage of him heading to Camp David. Look at him. This goes on for 40 seconds, and he's just shuffling and shuffling. It's really sad. Really, really sad. Now, I want to point out that some folks are even speculating about whether Biden might use a body double. Yes, it sounds crazy, but listen to this CIA expert talking about full face masks. That's what people are talking about these days. Watch.
Was chief of disguise.
What all did that entail?
The office I worked in was like the Q in James Bond. We were the Q for the CIA and the intelligence community. So there were different parts of it. Whatever you needed, if you needed a bug, if you needed secret writing or a microdot or a concealment device or whatever you needed, you had to come to us and we'll put something together for you.
What's the most memorable moment from being in disguise for you?
There were a number of them, but one that has to stand out. I went to the White House and I briefed George H.W. Bush, the president at the time, while I was wearing a full face mask. So we're sitting like this close together, and I'm telling him that I'm going to show him the best disguise that we have. And he's looking for a bag, like, where is it? I said, well, I'm wearing it, and I'm going to take it off. And I reached to start taking it off, and he said, stop. And he got up, and he walked, and he looked at it. He didn't know it was a mask. He wasn't sure what I was wearing. He sat back down. He said, okay. So I took it off. and I was holding it up in the air so he could see it. My whole head. It had hair and a face and a neck.
So you could walk around as someone else?
Absolutely.
And that would be the disguise?
Absolutely.
Now, it's not just us saying this. Even MSNBC's Elise Jordan thinks that both candidates should be tested. Watch.
Inside, I really wish both would just take drug tests, because it would be fascinating to see what Donald Trump has been on for so many years. Whatever, speculating 80s diet drugs. Aside from the fact that it, that it has just been so many dumb accusations tossed out there. Basically, if Joe Biden goes out and he's anything less than looking like he's been hanging out under a bridge and drinking and doing drugs all night, like, he really probably is going to have a victory.
But the real kicker, Dr. Ronny Jackson, who served as the White House physician for both Obama and Trump, is demanding that Biden take a drug test. He sent 5 letters and even went on Fox News to make his case yet again. Watch.
I have sent 5 letters previously asking for President Biden to submit to a cognitive test, very similar to the one that President Trump got while he was president. And all 5 of those letters have gone completely ignored. So tomorrow I'm sending a letter to President Biden, to his physician, Dr. O'Connor, and I'm CCing his entire cabinet. And it's embarrassing that I have to do this, and it's really embarrassing as a former White House physician to have to do something like this, but we don't have any choice based on what's going on. But I'm going to be demanding on behalf of many millions of concerned Americans right now that he submit to a drug test before and after this debate, specifically looking for performance-enhancing drugs. Because we've seen recently in his State of the Union address that there was a Joe Biden that came out that was not similar at all to what we see on a day-to-day basis for the last 3.5 years. And there's just really no way to explain that other than he was on something, that they'd given him medications. I feel like this is probably what's going on over this week at Camp David. He's going to be at Camp David for a full week before the debate. Part of that is probably experimenting with, just getting the doses just right, because, they have to treat his cognition. They have to give him something to help him think straighter. They have to give him something to wake him up, for his alertness. And then, he's been agitated. We see that all the time, and that's a common symptom or sign of this cognitive disorder that he seems to be suffering from. And so they're probably going to give him something to take the edge off that as well.
Now, some might say this is all new, but Trump's been calling for drug tests in debates for years. Remember this back in 2016?
You take a drug test prior, because I don't know what's going on with her. But at the beginning of her last debate, she was all pumped up at the beginning. And at the end, it was like, oh, take me down. She could barely reach her car. So I think we should take a drug test. Anyway, I'm willing to do it.
So, what's the big deal? Why is Biden hiding out at Camp David with no public events until the debate? Why won't his team agree to a simple drug test when 70% of voters want it? These are the questions that we need to be asking, folks. This debate is not just another political showdown. It's about trust, transparency, and whether our leaders are fit to serve. With CNN hosting the debate and plans to mute microphones, it's bound to be a high-stakes event. So if you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Patriots, this is not just about a drug test. It's about the foundation of our republic. When 70% of voters demand transparency and get stonewalled, that's not democracy, that's deception. Biden's refusal speaks volumes. Are we really okay with a potential president who won't come clean? This debate could be a turning point for our nation. Remember, a leader who hides from scrutiny today could hide much worse tomorrow. It's time that we, the people, demand better, because our future depends on it.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.